All right, so we have Harrison with us today, and I'm really excited to show you him. Harrison is a coming 8-year-old Missouri Fox Trotter. About 3 years ago, I believe he had a few rides on him, but I basically started him a few years ago. I put 60 rides on him, and since then he's been with his owner. She's been doing trail riding type of stuff. He's been in with another trainer learning to be a better gaited horse and showing some gaited shows and whatnot. Well, his owner sent him back to me, and our goal now is to do some reining classes and some cow work classes with him. So we kind of need to go back and establish his foundation where it needs to be again and really gear towards those disciplines. It's a lot different than, you know, running around on the bridle like a gaited horse would, you know, the way that they show them and the way that you would show and need to get the athleticism out of a reining or a cow horse is going to be a lot different. So we need to kind of take him back and break down the few things that he knows and that he's learned over the last couple of years and reteach him how we want him to be more athletic, more round, and things like that. So I haven't ridden him in a super long time, so I don't know where he's at right now, but I'm looking forward to find out. And what I wanted to do was just show you how, basically, if I get a horse back that's been a long time, how I evaluate where they're at and what I need to work on. Today is just all about figuring out what he's going to need over the next couple of months. So to start off, just like anything, I'm going to check, you know, to see how light he is laterally. It's very important that he can do this at the standstill and not really put up a fight. So a little bit heavy right there on the left rein, but really not bad at all. I mean, it actually feels very, very good. But I am very picky with the horses that I know. So I'm definitely going to let him know if it's not quite good enough, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be harsh or anything. I mean, he's trying and everything. He just got a little dull that one time, and right there too. Just, you could see he's got a little bit of a hold up going to the left. So I might flex him to the left a couple times in a row and make him just get off that bridle a little bit better going that way. I'll also check him up vertically, see what he does to the bridle right here. So what I'm looking for, especially for, you know, a cow type of horse, is when I pick up with those two reins, he needs to get off the bridle and round out his back. So if he's not off of that bridle, he's going to have a really hard time getting on his hind end to stop, to turn. So it's very, very important that he understands at the standstill, get off that bridle, and the same thing at the walk, trot, and canter as well. So it's not great. It's actually not even all that good. But that's something that it's on my checklist. Okay, I need to work on that vertical a little bit. So now I'm going to move him forward and just bend him up around my leg, check his body parts and things like that. So I'm using my right leg right here, getting him to bend his rib cage to my left. And also what I'm doing is I'm pulling his nose in and pressing with my right leg, getting him to bend around that leg. Every time he really softens up, I'm letting my hand down and letting my leg off to tell him that that's his job now to maintain that shape. Every time he goes out of the shape, I just pull it back on and press again with my leg. What I'm doing here to see if he's lied against my leg, if he's leaning on me, a couple things that I'm noticing is that he's not really keeping his head there by himself, where at one point he was a little bit better at this, but that's okay. You know, it's been a couple years since he's really been in heavy duty work, at least this type of work. So I don't expect him to be perfect by any means. This is just a check that I'm doing to say I need to find a starting point. There, he held that for a little bit. What I do is I just find his new starting point. Just because he was better at one time doesn't mean that anything, you know, less than that isn't good enough anymore. I need to find what he's capable of doing today and comfortable with, and then I need to work towards building that and making that better. So he, again, just like at the standstill, he's a little stiffer going to the left than he is to the right. What he's doing, I don't know if you can see it, he's pushing his shoulder out, not really getting his hind end out. So I'm going to put my left leg back there. Get him to step across a little bit and then release it. Left leg back, move that hindquarters. I'm going to spur it. There we go. I don't want him to be too straight in that body. A little bit of resistance here. Ride him out of that. So that's just another little thing on my checklist. He's a lot stiffer to the left than he is to the right. He's kind of going wherever he wants to right here, which is normal. You know, it's been a while since I've done anything with him. I'm not quite sure how much he's been ridden real recently, but it's common that they get in. You know, he's never ridden in this arena before, so I don't expect him to be great by any means. So what I'd also like to do is I want to go ahead and check how well his shoulders are working for me. I'll ask him to spin them. Close the door on my right, ask him to step through. So see how he's just kind of walking out of it? I'm just going to bump with my right leg and say, I need you to move those shoulders now. And then let him out of that. So I gently asked with my neck rein, I placed it on his neck, and he didn't want to get off of that, so then I started bumping my leg. So the reins here are the cue. See how he's walking out of it? Now I'm just going to say, Harrison, follow that neck rein, please follow that neck rein. He's leaning on it, so I'm not going to release. He's leaning on it, he's leaning on it. and there. He's a little bit hoppy, which all that hoppiness says is that he's stiff through the body. So that little things like this, bending the rib cage, getting them lighter, that'll really help that. Ask with the neck rein, he's not getting off of it. Bump with my leg, bump with my leg, bump with my leg, bump. I'm waiting. Even if he's trying to go, if he's real hoppy and stiff, I'm not going to let him out. Not going to let him out. Just wait on him. There was a decent step. So he's a little bit too sucked back in that exercise, and he's a little bit too stiff in that exercise, at least going to the left. He might be a lot better to the right. Let's check it out. So again, that's just a little note that I'm going to say needs a little bit of work. Press with that neck rein. He's ignoring it. Bump with my left leg, bump with my left leg, bump with, and there. Good. Ask him. He's ignoring it. Tell him with my leg. There we go. So I'm basically trying to just keep him looking to the right. I'm giving him releasing with that right rein, but that neck rein is just gently on his neck. So it goes from off his neck to here, and this is the cue to spin. He's not spinning, so I ask him with my leg. Here, 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 and there. He stepped over. He got off that a little bit better. So he is better to the right than he is to the left, but still not very good. So he's definitely going to need a lot of work. See how he wants to poke his nose out and be a little stiff in that. And he's a little bit too sucked back going this direction too. So I need to get him ridden a little more forward and out of those little spins. So another thing I'm going to do is just get him to trot around here. Like I said, he's a fox trotter, so his trot's going to look a little bit different. I'm going to put him on a loose rein here and just see what he does. He wants to be real stiff and straight with that. You see how every time I ask him to change direction, he kind of leans into that? I'm going to need to get him off of that a little bit better. So when I pick up real gently, then I'm going to bump it off if he's leaning on me. Here, that was a little bit better. I'm not too concerned if he's messing up his gaits or anything like that, because I'm not working on that right now. What I'm working on is just getting an evaluation of how soft his body is, how much attention he's paying, and things like that. I'll work on that other stuff when I know what I need to work on. So that's actually a really, really nice little foxtrot right there. Another thing that I'm going to work on is when I pick up on two reins and don't apply any legs, I want to see what happens. He needs to stop and soften immediately. So pick up on those reins. See how he's just taking me for a ride right here? I'm going to rock this in his mouth a little bit and say, Harrison, if I don't have those legs driving you into that collection, I need you to get off of that bridle, stop and wait for me. So it was pretty clear when he was just trotting off, he was just leaning forward into that bridle and saying, hey, let's get going. Well, I don't want that, especially for a reining and cow horse. I need him to get off of that. If I squeeze with my legs and push him into that, that's fine. But if I have just the reins on, so reins, see how he's not getting off? So I'm going to give him a couple seconds and then I'm just going to rock it in his mouth. I'm going to wait until I'm going to wait until he stops and he really gets soft off of that bridle. What I'd like to do as soon as I pick up like that, he stops his body and comes back to me. I feel that there's not much of a point in asking him to go forward and collect him if he's thinking run through my hands just when I ask him to stop. So pick up on these reins. Bump, 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 there. I'm just being real gentle about it. I'm just saying, look, Harrison, you're running into more pressure when you're running through my hands. I want him to really feel like that ask is always going to come there, but then if he keeps going, he's just running himself into a wall. Pick up. Rock that bridle. There we go. Just do this a few times and this will just be something that I'll repeat every day. There, that was a little bit better. He's still kind of dribbled into it, but it's just going to keep on getting better. I'm going to keep on repeating this every day until where it's consistent. As soon as I pick up, he stops and he softens his whole body to me, and then I'll go ahead and start pushing him into collection at the walk, trot, and eventually the canter as well. So now I'm just going to ask him to lope, see how that feels. Again, just on a loose rein. I'm not too concerned, you know, what lead he's picking up right now. He's got the left lead, he was in a right circle. I didn't even really ask for anything in particular. I just said lope. That's another thing I kind of want to feel. You know, if I put him to the right, is he going to pick up the right lead every time, or is he going to mess it up every now and again? I don't mind that he messed it up. It's just something that I'm going to be aware of. Squeeze him up a little bit. He wants to come back down. I might just do the same type of thing from a lope. Pick up with these reins. He's pulling me. Rock him. Rock him. There we go. Very important that he gets off of that. I'll ask him to stop to my seat from time to time as well. So there's another little note. He picked up the left lead in the right circle, and he picked it up in the left circle as well. So maybe he was just set up incorrectly on the right circle, or maybe he's just got a habit of picking up the left lead. I'll figure that out as we go. See how he's kind of leaning the shoulders? Just knock him off. Sit down. So he stopped to that decent. Not real hard by any means, but decent. Soften him up this way. Let him sit here. Good boy. A few other things I'll work on is just getting him off my legs left and right. I'll use a little leg yield exercise to get this going. So I'll tilt his head one way and push with that same leg. So my left leg is pushing. So see how he really fell in with his shoulders there? Pushing with my left leg. There, that's good. So initially he really took his shoulders where his nose was pointed. Well, I don't really want that. If I pull with my rein to the right, if my legs aren't telling it to go anyway, I don't want him falling his shoulders in there. My left leg was telling those shoulders to get to the right, and he fell to the left anyway. So that just, again, it tells me that he's a little stiff up here in the withers. Tilt his nose to the left, press with my left leg. A little bit heavy on my leg, so I'm going to roll my spur, roll my spur. There, he got really light off of that, so as soon as he does, I'm going to let him go. So that second one, as soon as I picked up to the left and pressed with my leg, he didn't fall those shoulders in. So it's very important that he's understanding what my legs are asking him to do at any one time. I'll try the same thing using my right leg, so walk him straight forward, gather up my reins, tilt his nose, press with, see how his shoulders are falling in this way? So I'm going to roll that spur up there. Say, Harrison, I didn't ask those shoulders to follow your nose. And there, I'll let him out. So as soon as I got him back on line, very, very important that he knows what my legs are asking. Tilt him this way, press with that right leg. That was a lot better. He kind of thought about it at first, and then he says, oh wait, that leg's blocking it, I better go this way. I'm glad that he made that decision. It shows me that he's thinking a little bit. Ask again, press with that right leg. Roll that spur, so he's kind of bouncing his nose, and now I'm going to kick him a little bit right here. He's really leaning on that right leg, kick, kick, and there we go. So if I press him with that spur and he's still not getting off, then I'll gently kick him and say, look, that's just going to keep getting more and more uncomfortable if you don't try to get off for me. Press him with my calf. Not bad right there. So he's getting off my leg, but he's not quite doing it 100% of the time. You know, sometimes he needs some encouragement. He's not as soft as I'd like him in the body or my hands. But again, this is just a little checklist that I need to know. He could have done these things very, very well. And really what he's doing isn't bad by any means, but this is my starting point. I need to say, okay, Harrison, this is the things that we need to build on. So anyway, I'm just going to go spend the next maybe 2-3 weeks with him working on him, and then I want to do another video and show you his progress. Hopefully we'll see a lot of improvements. We'll see him get more athletic and especially more soft. You know, he really needs to be soft if he's going to be doing this type of work. So that's his biggest thing right now, is he wanted to pull me forward, and I need him to be thinking back a little bit more, and he just needs to be getting softer to my legs. So I look forward to bringing you his next video. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for checking back in, everybody. We brought Harrison back today, and it's been 20 rides since we first filmed him. That was the first day that he was in with me that day. So we worked on a couple things. Most importantly was getting him soft off the bridle. When we grabbed with 2 reins like this, that wasn't his first reaction. His first reaction was to pull forward and take us somewhere. So we needed to get him off of that bridle, thinking more back and thinking more about us. We've worked a lot on that. We've worked a lot on suppling his body, getting him softer laterally, and a lot vertically as well. So he's doing really well. I really like where he's doing right now. I want to show you a couple things, show you where he's gone, and show you what I'd hope to get out of him as the next month comes towards us. So it's been 20 rides. That's a full month with me, 5 days a week for 4 weeks. So anyway, let's get started here. When we're going forward, remember, when we first filmed him last time, if I pick up on the reins but I don't apply any legs, he needs to soften and come back to me immediately. So getting my hands ready, if I apply these reins and don't apply reins, he needs to soften and get back. I really love that response right there. As soon as I picked up, he softened his chin to us and he got back. So that was wonderful. I even like that, how I pushed him forward, and the first thing that he did was kind of soften his head and neck. So again, if I pick up on the reins and I don't apply any legs, he needs to soften and come back to me. He's doing that really nicely. So if I pick up those reins and I apply the legs, well, that's his cue to kind of block the forward from his head and neck, but also push from behind. And that's what I really want him doing when I'm asking him to collect, is push from behind. So I'll squeeze him up into this bridle, squeeze, 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 squeeze. When he feels really soft to my legs and really soft to my hands, I'll let him out of that. That was really nice. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze means collect yourself. Drive from your hind end. Okay, no legs, on the other hand, means stop and get back. Very, very important that he knows the difference, and very important that he does this at all gaits too. If I ask him to trot around a little bit, so we're trotting, trotting, trotting. If I pick up, I really like that response. Just a light pressure with those reins, and he gets back to us. Very, very nice right there. Let's try again. I need this to be extremely consistent. If he's still getting confused at this, then we need some more practice. So go along, light pressure with the reins, he immediately stops and softens. Very, very nice. Same thing if we're loping off here. It's no different, and no matter what gait you're going in, the answer's still the same. So we're going here, pick up on the reins, stop and soften. I like that a lot. He's really paying attention. On the other hand, if we're loping off and I squeeze with my legs, I really want him to drive and be more athletic about this lope. So right here on a loose rein, he can do whatever he wants. Now if I squeeze with my legs, pull with those reins, I really like that. He's, whoop, a little bit of a trip. That kind of stuff happens, no big deal. Squeeze him back up into this. I like how he's kind of slowing himself down a little bit and really pushing from behind. I like that. Now, if at any time, if I stop squeezing with my legs, stop and soften. Very, very nice. That's so important to have a horse understand when to get back to you. Okay, I don't want to be picking up on these reins and have him think, okay, well, let's just take them somewhere. I want to be, I'm the one driving, he's the one following. So if I say get back, he needs to get back immediately. Right there, he was just kind of thinking forward a little bit, so I brought him back a step. Very good. We've also been working a lot on getting his shoulders under control. When we first tried this 20 days ago, he didn't have very good shoulder control. So what I did was I pressed with the rein over here and asked him to kind of spin off of my leg. And 20 days ago, it didn't look like this. It was pretty hoppy, pretty inconsistent. Right now, he's getting really, really light to that rein cue. Really like where he's coming with that. Same to going to the right. I'll just walk him in a small circle here. My left rein isn't pressing his neck over, so he knows to just stay in the circle. Now, if I want him to start spinning his shoulders, I just press a little bit with that left rein, and he comes right through. Feels really good right there. He's not leaning on the rein. He's not leaning on my leg. I like where that is. Good job, Harrison. We've also added that neck rein cue to our guiding exercises. So I'll show you how I kind of lope them in circles, but instead of just sticking in the circle, I'll make a little pattern. I call it like a wagon wheel pattern, to where every time I reach a different spoke, I come through the middle, go back on the circle, reach another spoke, come through the middle again. So I'll get them going in that pattern and I'll show you guys, but before I do that, I want to really be aware of Harrison here and say, I want you to get on your left lead. So how do I do that? I'm going to push his hip over here to the left. Let me walk towards the camera and show you this. If his hip is further to the left than his shoulders and I kiss to him, he's more likely going to get the left lead. If they're further to the right, he's more likely going to get that right lead. So if I'm walking straight towards you, my left leg is back and I'm saying, hey, get that hip over here. So if I kiss now, as long as he doesn't push back against me and brace up, he's going to get that left lead. So right leg back, get him collected here. He feels good. He goes straight into that left lead. So we're on a circle here. Okay, I want to keep him looking into that circle. So anytime he looks out, I'll just bring that left rein over and say, just stay looking in there, buddy. So every time I get to a spoke on this wagon wheel, I'll apply my neck rein and say, come through the center, go straight through that center till I get to the edge of that wheel. Then we're back on the circle. We've reached another spoke through the center. This is a really great exercise because it gets him off of that neck rein really good. I apply that neck rein and then I apply that inside rein. So neck rein over here and then that inside rein says look where you're going. If I had both those reins pulling over to the left and he wasn't going left, all I'll do is I'll use a little bit right leg. Push those shoulders where I'm asking him to go. Bring him through on this spoke. Very nice. Lots of these little guiding exercises to get your horses thinking about you, having you do the driving. Cool. Good little stop right there for him. I really like that. So just little guiding exercises. A lot of this stuff we're doing out on the trail. We're working a lot on getting our horse better lead control. So if I, take that right leg or that left leg and stick it back there, I got that hip going to the right, picking up the right lead. Now as we're going straight down the trail, what I'll do is I'll push that hip over to my left, I'll kiss at him and I'll say, let's get that left lead. And then I'll bring him back down to a walk, push that hip over here to my right, and then pick up that right lead. So we're going on a straight line, and we're just going right lead, walk a little bit. Left lead, walk a little bit. So I'm teaching him whether he's on a circle or on a straight line to listen to what leg is back and where his hip is, and pick up that correct lead. Also, while we're on that trail, we're going, and then I'm gonna bring him back and stop him with these bridle reins and collect him up as well. So lots of little bit of pay attention to me out there, soften up, move off my legs one way or another. So that's just a quick little preview of what he's doing. It's been 20 rides and I really like the improvements that he's made, and I look forward to bringing you the next one, hopefully another 20 rides from now, and we'll see where he is then too. Thanks for watching, guys.